Welcome back. We continue looking at commemorating Women's Month. We now look at the role and history of women in visual arts with Palesa Segomotso Motsumi, who is the founder of Sematsatsa Library, which is a social entrepreneurial initiative which focuses on empowering Black youth and women in the creative industry. Palesa, good to have you on the program this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Ntantla. It's good to be here.
Can you share a little bit more about what motivated you to establish Sematsatsa Library and how your experience in the visual arts sector influenced this initiative?
I think I'll start and go back to the meaning of Sematsatsa and also how I came about naming my social entrepreneurship initiative as Sematsatsa Library. Sematsatsa in Sepedi, Sesotho and Setswana is defined as a consummate individual, and the library came through from the idea of really seeking knowledge and forever engaging with our knowledge systems. And I combined Sematsatsa and library to make up this wonderful, innovative initiative called Sematsatsa Library, which a lot of people are familiar with in the visual arts industry. However, I have also spread across different disciplines and written and documented artists across the board.
So from what I understand, Sematsatsa Library focuses on empowering women and youth in the visual arts. What specific challenges do these groups face, and how does your library then address these challenges?
I think we address these challenges through discursive interventions and discussions. I've hosted different talks, programs across the country where we engage young people and women specifically within the creative industries. And this has shown that a lot of young people do need platforms to talk about what it is that they're facing within their communities. I was recently part of an initiative called the Turban Art Fair, where we talked about different issues that young people are facing in the visual arts scene, as well as creating a community and an ecosystem to support visual artists within that spectrum. I also have to mention that within my curatorial work, as someone who's been in the industry for almost 10 years, it's been my observation to look at the current emerging artists within the country and forge forth a path for them. Because otherwise, if we're in the industry and not making opportunities available for artists, it's quite a futile exercise to be part of a community and say that you're part of a community when actually you're not doing anything for young people in the industry.
But in your view, how do spaces like Sematsatsa Library then contribute to the broader conversation about gender representation, especially in the visual arts?
Sematsatsa Library has always had a strong rooted message around women and empowering women within those spaces. We've had different initiatives across the country, from Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Bloemfontein, where we engage our practitioners on some of the fundamental basic empowering tools. For instance, in terms of research, we've been involved with the Visual Arts Network of South Africa, where we did research across the country with them and disseminated information with the VANZA organization. And that really showed us that young people still want a regulated, smooth sailing, unified structure within the visual arts to really forge a path for them and also earn their keep in terms of economically empowering themselves and also starting businesses as well at the same time.
So as a former member of the Acquisitions Committee at Oliver Nys Art Museum, what changes did you advocate for to increase representation of women artists?
Well, I think for me, serving on the acquisitions board for Oliver Nys Art Museum was one of the privileges that I held highly. And I performed that duty with respect and dignity, and understanding that I come from a community of people who obviously would be deemed in a different light. And as an artist and a writer, I decided to take the plight and the baton to really exercise my right to express myself and say, this is a platform that is readily available for the public, and the collection is one of the ways in which we can speak about the issues that women have, and the tools that we have at our disposal that our own government has given us is to really hone the work of women into the collection and collect women artists within that specific organization. So Olive Hayes Art Museum was one of the formidable establishments that I've worked with to really look at the history that women have played within the visual arts, as well as documenting their stories. And I think I would go as far as saying that even the board members, my fellow board members as well, really learned a lot around what kind of impact that women artists have had within South Africa. We have so many women artists within our country that have yet to be documented and also yet to be spoken about, that we cannot afford to not have those spaces represent the current status quo.
Yeah. So Palesa, you've been involved in numerous international panels and also festivals as well. How do these experiences then influence your work, but also your vision for Sematsatsa Library?
Sematsatsa Library is forever going to be existing to empower women and young people in whatever shape or form. And I think one of the things that we've achieved really well is to collaborate and work with different organizations and different entities, business across the board. We've worked with organizations that would not normally focus on the arts. And I think that's been our strongest impact within that industry. We are really looking at documenting women artists and collaborating with different entities. And for the next couple of years, that's our focus. It's to really collaborate with different entities to make sure that women's voices are heard, women identifying individuals are heard, and also make sure that Sematsatsa Library leaves a legacy for the ones that are coming behind us.
Can we discuss now the impact of the historical and contemporary female artists in South Africa, especially on your work and the mission of Sematsatsa Library? Tell us a bit more about this.
So our mission for the past 2 years really has been to pass the baton and make spaces available for young emerging women artists and women identifier individuals. And that has been through That's What She Said, which is a celebratory dinner that we hold annually every year on Women's Month. And last year we started honoring women artists such as your Professor Zanele Moholi, Nandi Pamdambo, and Usha Sijaram. And all of these women have played a role in South Africa's historical narrative when it comes to the visual arts. And this year we have another dinner that is going to take place on the 15th of August at Villa Arcadia in Johannesburg, Parktown North. And that is in partnership with different people who have come on board and seen the plight of women within the industry and wanted to pay homage to a wonderful, phenomenal artist, Mary Sibande. And Mary obviously has introduced us to the character Sophie, who so often was beloved in our communities, who we could identify with and also perhaps reminisce with at the same time when she displayed her artworks.
So with your extensive background in the visual arts, what are some of the key lessons, if you will, that you've learned about the creative space, inclusive, especially when it comes to inclusivity and support for women especially?
I've learned so much, Nhlanhla. I think one of the key lessons I've learned as a young entrepreneur myself and writer and practitioner is that community is very important. I wouldn't be the person that I am today or have achieved some of the things that I've achieved without the community that I have. The visual arts industry is quite a niche industry. A lot of people know and understand that it's kind of an elite part of our industry, and a lot of our communities need to know and understand these stories and these artists that we often interact with in our communities. And I think for me, one of the greatest lessons that I learned from the likes of Mam Busimhlongo and also many other women across the industry, is that being authentically yourself is one of the best things you can ever do for yourself as an artist. And I think that is one thing that I carry forward with my work and across the board with my own initiatives and my own company, Sematsatsa Library.
Palesa, as we wrap up our conversation, but also looking to the future, what are your aspirations for Sematsatsa Library, and how do you plan to further advance the representation and support of women, especially in the visual arts?
I think my aspiration has always to see the industry unified, to see inclusivity, and also for us to really be able to work through our own issues as an industry. A lot of us in the industry feel differently around any topic that has been presented to us now, politically and otherwise. And I think this is a time where artists, women, men, and youth, this is the time where we need to actually stand up, really speak about our history and commemorate some of the experiences that we've had so far and tell our stories unapologetically. I think a lot of the time we are scared to speak up because of the powers that be, or something happened to us through other instances. But I think this is a time for us to really put aside a lot of the issues that we have and think about the future of our country and the young people that actually need this knowledge.
Thank you so much, Palesa, for sharing your invaluable insights and also the inspiring work that you're doing with the Sematsatsa Library. She's been telling us their story, of course, as we commemorate Women's Month as well.